This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. The Black Power movement started in the 1960s. It had an interest in bringing Black Americans together in the fight for equality between Blacks and Americans. The Black Power movement was formed to fight for racial pride and joint interest. It was against multiculturalism. It aimed at protecting Black people from racial discrimination. It supported the formation of separate social institutions and an independent economy. Violence was used in order to achieve civil rights. It was for the independence and separation of Black people. Not all people were for Black nationalism. The Party of Self-Defense was not for Black nationalism and did not believe there was racism. They believed the struggle was due to economic differences. Black Power movement came at the time of Black people's struggle for civil rights and inequality. They insisted on racial incorporation and absorption. The Black Power movement succeeded in the fight for independence and the self-esteem of Black people. The movement focused on political issues that were filled with the oppression of Black people. Barrack and Assata Shakur History on Civil Rights Black Power Movement. Barack Obama was told the history of Black people's oppression and slavery by his grandmother. He saw himself as the heir to the king and was determined to fight for civil rights. He positioned himself as the forerunner of Black politicians to fight for civil rights. He fought for equal treatment of people regardless of their race, religion, color, or country of origin. Unlike the early fighters of civil rights who insisted on the separation of social amenities, Obama termed this as unconstitutional. He was against the use of violence in the struggle for civil rights. Barack Obama was aware of the violence and oppression of Black people in the United States. He dedicated himself to fighting against this. He became a politician with an interest in the equality of all people in the United States. He discussed the 50 years of racial politics as inhuman and unconstitutional. He paid respect to the elders who had formed the civil rights Black Power movement in their struggles for civil rights. Assata Shakur's story is not very different from Barack Obama's, as she also fought for civil rights. She indeed experienced the violation of human rights and racial discrimination. She was imprisoned with charges she never committed. She escaped from prison in 1979 to get away from the racial discrimination and violence that was exercised by the United States government towards Black people. She has lived as an exile in Cuba since 1984. She participated in the civil rights movement vigorously in the fight against racism. During her studies, she was in the Black students' movement in the fight for equal education facilities and against racism. She was also part of the Black Partner Party, which aimed at total racial equality and independence for Black people. Her treatment in the prisons raised alarm among human rights activists. She is a clear example of racism that was exercised by the white government towards Black people. The Federal Bureau of Investigations classified her as a domestic terrorist. This did not stop her from fighting for civil rights. She joined the African Liberation Party, which aimed to fight for the independence and self-determination of Black people. She later joined the Republic of Africa, which aimed at creating an independent Black majority nation. History revelation. Barack Obama and Assata Shakur fought to the end, and they gained civil rights, and Black power has come to rule. This is clearly shown by Obama's election to the presidency. Being the president, Obama is a representative of the post-civil rights Black Power movement. In his campaigns for the presidency, Obama insisted on equal treatment of people of the United States regardless of their race, color, religion, or land of origin. Barack Obama and Assata Shakur's story reveals the racial discrimination towards Black people that was exercised by the United States government. It shows the self-determination of Black people in their struggles for civil rights, Black power. The history of civil rights struggles reveals how the United States government exercised its policies that were full of racial discrimination and violence towards black people. Barack Obama and Assata Shakur have similarities in that they both represent the young people in the fight for racial equality. They also have been fighting for civil rights and insisting on the end of violence that was excised by the United States government toward black people. They were in political movements that aimed at liberating black people. They fought to the end to see that the Constitution was applied to treat everyone equally. They were different in that Assata Shakur practically experienced slavery itself in the hands of the political government. She experienced racial discrimination and was arrested for crimes she had not committed. She also experienced violence that was being used in the fight for civil rights, while Barack Obama insisted on morality and Christian values when he was fighting for civil rights and equal treatment of all people. This is well demonstrated in his campaigns for the presidency, where he used Bible stories to preach equal treatment of people. Barack Obama learned the story of black slavery from his grandmother, while Assata Shakur indeed experienced slavery. Conclusion: Black people experienced racial discrimination and slavery at the hands of the United States political government. Black people united and formed movements that aimed at fighting for civil rights and equal treatment as whites. These movements were against racism. Barack Obama and Assata Shakur inherited the spirit of fighting for civil rights and black power from their forefathers. They continued with the struggles for civil rights to the end. With these two people, slavery of black people in the United States and racial discrimination has ended. Did you like this Civil Rights Black Power Movement sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the free database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs, without even having to register.